Welcome home, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. As you can see, we have a lot of new technology in the room. So we're just going to know as a powerful force of consciousness that all things work together for clarity and good sound, and that those folks that are watching on Facebook Live are seeing and hearing everything that we're doing here, because what we've got here is fabulous. Welcome home, everybody. Oh, give me a moment. I have not been able to be on this stage for 13 months, just like you have not been able to be in those seats. Now, I want you to know that I have come in here many, many, many times over this past year just to feel the space and pray it up and remember the fullness of love and light that is already here, that's actually embedded in the walls and the pews and this very atmosphere of spiritual truth that we swim in. So I want to remind you that we are here today together to remember that greater truth, to remember this expression of life in and through and as each of us is nothing more than light shining out into the world. That is who we are here to be, and we come here to remember that with and for each other. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So this morning we'll have the order of service will be generally the same, but a few things will be different. We're not quite ready to sing together. That's a little too much drop, we say. But we do have live music, and welcoming us back into this space, we welcome the Jacksons back into our community. So thank you so much. They will have a couple of songs for us a little bit later. And before we get started, I want to light the candle for our theme this month, which is Celebrate. For obvious reasons, yes. Now, a little bit of housekeeping in terms of our health and safety. So we are doing our best to keep everybody safe. We've asked the groups that don't know each other or haven't bubbled together to be sitting 6 feet apart. Now, if you do not know what 6 feet apart is, look at the back of the pew in front of you. You see those 4 sections? Each of those sections is 6 feet long. So if you are sitting in one section, the next person should be sitting in the next section. And if you are behind someone who's in the same section you are, there should be at least a row between you, because it's 6 feet for every 2 rows. So I should see da, 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 da. Got it? There we go. I see a few people moving. That's good. So 2 rows and alternate sections, and we're golden. All right. We are also indoors. Now, I'm a good, 15, 20 feet from here, so my mask is off. The person on the microphone's mask will be off. We are indoors. Please keep your mask up. Okay, we may find, Ed, I think we might need to open these back doors. We were going to have a little airflow. Okay, we got that. Little extra airflow there. Yep, great. The only other thing I want to remind you is that after the service, we're going to ask that if you would like to talk to each other, won't that be fun? Please do it outside. That gives you a little more space, that gives you a little more airflow, and it gives you the ability, if you are outside and 6 feet apart, you may lower your mask so that you can see each other smile. All right, so I do encourage you to do that, but in the meantime, masks up. And let's get started, shall we? So we're going to start with a little centering as we all, see? I'm rusty. I want to first acknowledge the flowers. All right, we have flowers all over the place. Most of the smaller vases are compliments of your board, and just here to welcome you. What'd you think of the sign out front? The one, when you walked in, the welcome, yes? Yes? Okay. I like it. We also have a special dedication of flowers. This is to honor John Reynolds' birthday. That's Regina's brother. And to honor all the patients, families, and caregivers impacted by COVID and in this moment, the citizens of India who are struggling. So we take a moment and just know the wholeness and health of the planet, that this way forward that is the spiritual truth of all life will bring us through this and bring comfort to those who have lost. All right, so let's get centered, shall we? I'm going to invite you, wherever you are, to take a deep breath and close your eyes and let the sound of the bowl take you within. Moving our awareness into that space of the heart, that place of peace, that spark of light. That sanctuary within which knows only oneness.
Oh, we just take this beautiful moment right here and right now in gratitude and celebration for being here, for having others with us, for we enter this new time, this new space with that gratitude, with that celebration of life itself, focusing on all that is whole, all that is beautiful, beautiful flowers, lovely sanctuary, beautiful people sharing this space with us. So I know in this beauty that this is the beauty of the divine presence, expressing itself in so many wondrous ways. And that's all we need to know. All we need to be in this present, very present space today is being open to the newness, open to the beauty, open to the wonder. And we just take a moment to bask in that wonder and celebration. And so bringing ourselves back into this beautiful, beautiful space on this beautiful day, we can open our eyes and join ourselves together. We go straight into the reading. Okay. So I have a reading for you today from the book A Noble Purpose by Barry Heerman in a chapter called Celebration. How to celebrate. In order to get to our purpose, we need to know how to celebrate. And so my reading today is about a woman who learned to celebrate her story. We all have a story, and we have stories about what it was like to be separated from each other during these last 13 months or so. But we can tell this story in various ways, and she learned to celebrate it. So Kay, a 45-year-old executive director of a nonprofit, shares the story of how celebrating her story paved the way for a more compassionate response to the troubled youth she served, as well as helping the youth get in touch with their greatness. Kay says, "When I was 2 or 3 years old, my parents divorced, and my mother was left to raise my 3 older brothers and me as a single parent. She suffered from manic depression at a time when effective medication was not yet available. My childhood experiences of my mother were a series of huge contradictions, from loving, devoted mother to suicidal mother to a completely crazed mother with outrageous behavior. As a result, during my first 13 years, I was moved 26 times. living in orphanages, with foster families, with various relatives, and at time with my mother and brothers. When I was 14 years old, my mother died of cancer. And following her death for the first time, I experienced a long-term, stable environment with an aunt. Unfortunately, my two of my brothers did not fare as well and lived on their own, sometimes in the streets, from time to time, from the time they were 14 and 15 years old. As a very young child, I was familiar with social workers. On several occasions, my mother would disappear for periods of time, and neighbors, relatives, and teachers would contact the authorities to report her missing. My brothers would say that the social workers were going to sweep us up and take us somewhere. It was not a big surprise that as an adult I became involved in a helping profession. I had worked for 10 years for the American Red Cross, a wonderful organization. However, I began to feel a strong pull towards work with an organization that supported children. I spent one afternoon visiting a children's home. Memories of my childhood flooded back, and I became painfully aware of how little of my childhood I had shared with anyone, including my husband and children. As a child, I had always felt the stigma of being different, and even as an adult, felt people would never understand my erratic and dysfunctional family pattern, and consequently wouldn't understand me. Synchronously, I received a call from an ex-Red Cross board member who now serving as a board member for a shelter for runaway and homeless teenagers in the Midwest city where I live. The executive director position was available, and she encouraged me to apply. I will never forget the evening I interviewed with the 6-member search committee. My resume reflected the person that I presented to the world. Competent, administrator, college graduate, married, 3 children, and living in an affluent suburb. After several questions, a woman on the search committee, who was the chair of the board, asked, "Tell me why someone with your background would be interested in working with troubled youth in the inner city." Well, I looked at her, and I felt my face grow red hot, and the tears started to well in my eyes. I fought them back, but it was no use. Tears rolled down my cheeks, and I began to tell my childhood story. Before long, everybody was crying, and we were passing the tissues and laughing as we did. I got the position. That was the start of sharing myself with great appreciation for the gifts of empathy, fierce resolve, and humility I developed as a result of my childhood. I began to proclaim throughout the community that the children we served were just like other children. They were only born in different circumstances. I learned a powerful lesson. By not being stingy in acknowledging my life and my capacities, I could create space within the agency for children to tell their stories, honoring their strengths from sometimes splintered and dysfunctional circumstances. So I encourage everyone to celebrate your story, share it, because there's others that will gain from it. Thank you.
Wonderful. And that is exactly what we're talking about today. So my title today is We Come Together, for, again, obvious reasons. And I think that each word of that title has something to tell us. You know, we as a spiritual family, we as a spiritual community, we who have been somewhat invisible to each other for a long time. And although some of us have been able to join in with a few of the activities we have had online or at certain times outdoors in the garden, there's a lot of faces that some of us have not seen all year. And so this we that we are was invisible in a lot of ways. And yet, our philosophy teaches us that everything that comes into the visible comes from the invisible. And here we are. We have once again stepped into a space where we are together. And I am including those of you that might be watching virtually, because I know not everyone can be here. I also know that there are now members who enjoy and engage with our community that don't live locally, that we are simply a part of their Sunday mornings as if they lived here. And so this we that we are continues to show up in new forms from the community that we hold in consciousness. Now we come together. To come is to choose to move. We are moving according to our desire. We are making a conscious choice to bring ourselves into the presence of others. And so we're here by choice. And anytime we're here by choice, we are living our passions, our desires, our expectation of good shows up with us. Our joy that we carry comes into the room. And so we are coming together as a group by choice. And there is power in that choice. And of course, together is an experience of joy. I'm not saying every relationship is peaceful every minute of the day. But you have to admit, it's kind of fun to all be here, isn't it? Yeah. We have a joy that we're experiencing, and we've come to celebrate. Now, of course, I had to look up the word celebration, celebrate, and it's to assemble in order to honor and commemorate with demonstrable joy. I love that. The word itself means there's a group of people, right? There's an agreement among a larger group. And what we're doing is honoring and commemorating, appreciating something with demonstrable joy. Through ritual, through conversation, through words, through dance, through whatever. So I'm not sure how you express your joy, but here's something, a quote to make you think about it. Celebration has many different outfits, but she always wears the same beautiful dancing shoes. So here's what I want you to do. I invite you to turn and tell your neighbor, no matter how far apart they are from you, I'm so glad to be here. All right, now turn to a different neighbor and tell them, I'm so glad you're here. Now everybody turn around and say to the cameras, we're so glad you're here. All right, now here's the really fun part. I want you to stand up. I want you to turn and make eye contact with somebody across the room. And I want you to give them a dance move, okay? You can shimmy, you can soft shoe, you can just wave your arms. Oh, yeah. All right, have a seat, everybody. There's joy in this place. There is joy in this room. There is joy in us. Harry's so joyful, he's not going to sit down anymore. And in this joy, we come to a place of recognition of what it is we want to honor. I'm going to invite you to take a moment and close your eyes and go within as we do a little prayer of blessing. Blessing for this space, for this campus we call home, for this beautiful room that we are once again in, virtually or in person. Blessing the community that has held together through it all. Realizing that every person here is a blessing to this community. Say to yourself, I am light. I shine my light. Know that you are love and say to yourself, my love radiates and fills this room. Say to yourself that I come with givingness and forgiveness. I am open to receive. Say to yourself, I stand in truth and I claim my good. And so it is, and so it shall be. We're here. It's familiar and it's new. You know, human beings are rather complex. We're able to hold both of those ideas at the same time. It's our sanctuary, but that wall out front is blue. And we feel a sense of welcome, but there's a word that says we're welcome. And we might be in one particular room, and yet we are reaching people far beyond our locality through the miracles of technology. But what has brought us here has been an emotional roller coaster. Would you agree? That in this past year, we've felt loss. Loss of what's familiar, loss of routine, loss of ways to be together, loss of loved ones. We've also discovered things within ourselves that we might not have had we not had that time away and apart from what we considered normal. In this last year, we have possibly experienced a sense of relief. All those introverts among us. Wow, I don't have to go outside because, oh, that's right, I can't. I don't have to be on. I don't have to show up. I don't have to say no to somebody because we're saying no to everything right now that involves getting together face to face. You know, the introvert in me loves that. I have a nice little nest at home. And maybe in that process, we also discovered some creative endeavor of our own. Something was sparked in us. We found ways to do things that we might not otherwise have done. Like waving from the car window to wish a relative or a small child happy birthday or happy graduation. We never did that before. That creativity has come forth in spite of the restrictions of the year. And maybe hardest of all this year has been a sense of isolation. If you lived alone, if you lost someone during the year, if you were unable to be with a loved one or to celebrate something you were looking forward to, that sense of isolation can affect us in ways that make things heavy and hard. And maybe in that sense of isolation, we were forced to find new ways to connect. Or old ways. Maybe you wrote a letter to someone or sent them a card. Or maybe you actually used the phone for something other than a game, to call someone and say hi and check in. Or maybe you let your grandkids finally show you how to use FaceTime. See, you know. So we've had these experiences. Each of us might have felt isolated in our experience, but I want to show you something. If you at any time in this last year, because of the pandemic, have felt lost or isolated or lonely or even that sense of relief or a little bit of creativity, raise your hand and look around the room. You are not alone. We really are in this together. And even though we are each unique and we each experienced it in our own way, we all shared the experience of this emotional movement. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, reminds us that different plants grow in the same soil. It's a way of saying that the spiritual unity the oneness of life, unity passes into variety and multiplicity. So each of us, unique, coming through this experience, this community has shifted, coming through this experience, and yet we all share. We share in the human condition. We share in this process of evolution and transformation that happens to us sometimes in spite of our best efforts. Professor and author Amit Ray, he's East Indian metaphysician, teaches meditation, very interesting guy. I like his writings. He says, you are here to evolve and make your consciousness high. You are here to dance and sing and celebrate life. You are here to help others feel happy. We are here not to compete, but to learn, evolve, and excel. We're not here to make divisions in the name of prophets or religions. We are here to encompass the world with love and light. So that love that you are, that light that you were shining into this room, actually goes beyond our walls into the greater community. Because this is the truth of who we are. This is who we are meant to be. And even though our emotions may be going up and down and all over the map, the truth stays the same. And the truth is joy at a deep level. The truth is connection, heart to heart, because God is love. The energy of life is love. And that is the truth of who we are. So we're here, and we're changed by our experience, each of us. And our community is changed by our experiences. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to bring your whole self to the feast of community. That's our main quote this week. Celebration is a kind of food we all need in our lives. And each individual brings a special recipe or offering so that together we will make a great feast. We will make a great feast. So are you ready? Are you ready to contribute to this new spiritual family that is familiar and yet evolving? Awesome. I like a yes. We're all expressing life in a new way. That includes here. And are you willing to recommit to this center, to your ability to express your best self here among friends and family? Yes? All right, so I'm going to invite you to stand up. And those of you watching, stand up too. One more time. Say with me, right after me, this is my center. This is my center. I own it. I support it. My center supports me. Look around. We are the center. We are abundant together. We are alive and well at CCSL. That's it. Namaste. Give yourselves a hand. You may be seated. All right. So I am going to do a prayer for all of us, and then I'm going to invite our musicians who, once again, just like Easter, I forgot to have sing before we started. So we'll do a little prayer. We're going to anchor this truth of what we know right here, right now, and then we'll have a little music, if you will, my friends. So take a moment, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and feel the love in this room. Feel the love in the atmosphere wherever you are. For the truth is, this love comes from within. This love is the Spirit expressing. This love is the very energy of all that you are. Breathe in. Breathing into that love and breathing out what we choose to let go of. For in this place of honoring, in this place of remembering, in this place of commemorating all that we have done, all that we are, all that is yet to be, we celebrate. We demonstrate our joy by remembering the truth of the love that is our very essence. How good it is to be in this place, to be in this community, to be part of a teaching that reminds us to open our hearts. There is power in receiving. There is power in giving. There is power just in the way that we are, in our being. Life is good and getting better all the time. And so I speak a word of wholeness and healing, recognizing that there is only one power, one peace, one love, one joy, and that this love shows up as health and wholeness for all. That where there is a sense of obstacle or brokenness or loss, that there is also love which heals and soothes and raises up. For it is in this rising of consciousness that we find where and what we celebrate, what we honor, what we commemorate, what we do together as joy. It is good, it is very good, and I am grateful for the blessing of each person, for the blessing of this campus which holds us so gently, for the blessing of this teaching which reminds us that everything that we need and are and can become is already here available. We are blessed. We are a blessing. And life is good, for it is all God. And I simply allow that to unfold in space and time, in divine right action, in perfect unfoldment, showing up in the smiles that we meet, in the changes that we make, in the ways we find to demonstrate our joy. We simply let this be, for we know it is true, and so it is. All right, I'm going to invite the Jacksons up to sing a song for us. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Reverend Tracy. It's wonderful to be here inside with all of you and see all your faces. And we would like to share with you a song called In the Light, and we are.
I was thinking about this song during the week. We were choosing songs and going through things and trying to figure out what song really fit the day. And you just have to have faith that you're going to pick the right song. And it's called In the Light, but what it's really about, it's the light that's shining in you. And how you inspire everybody that you see. So we thank you for that.
I see shining in you is the love I feel within me, draws me closer to my truth. For our purpose is completed when we shine, lifting all of those around us. It is joy that we will find.
This is our
If this is the essence of our life, and I thank each and every one of you that let your love light shine.
It is you that forges the courage that inspires
To all of those whose gifts are hidden, but soon they will arise.
For truly paradise is given to us all. When we reach out to each other, we are answering a call. Transformed, we are united as we give the gift of love and shine our light so bright it can be seen by one and all. In the light
I see shining in you is the love I feel within me, draws me closer to my truth. For our purpose is completed when we shine, lifting all of those around us. It is joy that we will find.
All right, so I know you have a second song, so I'll do a little words here, and then we'll go back to another song, because normally it would have been spread out a little more, but that's okay. You just stay right there. All right, so one of our safety protocol changes is that we're not actually passing our contribution baskets. They're located in the back on your way out on the aisle. I think there's one over there somewhere. Maybe, Susie, you can stick it on the end of the pew or something. So we ask you, there's one in the door, one in each doorway. So we'll just ask you to drop your contribution there. But if you will, with me, I realize you don't have programs and your memory is being called upon. We're working on all that. In the meantime, those of you that remember, the rest of you hum along. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Thank you. All right, let's have another song, shall we?
Thank you. There's a song the birds can whistle, and a verse the wind will sing. There's a part for every one of us, don't have to bring a thing. You have passion, you can use it. You have dreams you can make real. You create the paradise you seek and see it all fulfilled. You inspire me with a smile that you are wearing, kind words that you speak, and you have a gift of bringing something wonderful no one else can give.
Just like Emerson or Dylan, inspiration guides you to the path that leads you forward to discover how to use the many talents you've been given and that all of us possess. Gift
Perfect. Just absolutely perfect for what we are today, what we're talking about today. So I have an affirmation for you. I'm going to invite you to say the phrases after me, if you will. Today, I celebrate the very spirit of life. I open my heart and experience the joy of community. I open my heart and experience the joy of community. I am renewed. And so it is. All right, we have a lot to talk about. I want to let you know first that Wednesday nights for the month of May will remain on Zoom. So they'll remain online. And that means our pre-meditation will also be via phone call. So you can take part in that on Wednesdays as you have been. We'll let you know when that changes. And we will have some exciting topics coming up this month. And I know that we're working on something special for that fifth Wednesday. You know, whenever there's a fifth Wednesday, we do a little something extra. So keep an ear out for information about that. We'll have details soon. Next Sunday is Mother's Day, so I'm hoping that you will come on Mother's Day. We'll celebrate that as well. And part of our celebration is that we will have 3 gift baskets to raffle off. Now, if you were here at the end of the year, you know that our gift baskets are nothing to sneeze at, right? No sneezing anyway, but you know what I mean. So come prepared, bring your little $5 bills because we'll have raffle tickets to sell. It's a great way to contribute to the center and to go home with something wonderful. I promise you they will be wonderful. Just a reminder again, as you leave, that we ask that you gather outdoors to visit and kind of move through the lobby. If you would like to go into the bookstore, we are a little challenged in the volunteer department right now. Go figure, a year, you know, we're just back after a year. So there's room for you to participate in bringing us back to life in its completion. So if you would like something from the bookstore, Jan will be in there. We may have to get creative with the purchasing, but we'll figure all that out. We'll write it down if nothing else, and you'll pay us next week or something. So if you do go into the bookstore, keep it to 3 people, please. Again, just to give us room to keep everybody safe. Speaking of volunteers, we have room for a team of people on our sound team because we have more things going on. We have room for our ambassadors, those who greet and seat. So if you would like a way to be a part of this community, just with a new energy, talk to us, let us know. And then the people that you want to talk to are your board. Now, I have 854 thank yous to do. I'm not going to do them one by one, but I am going to ask the Board of Trustees to stand up. Will you please stand? And for the rest of you to know, they have worked tirelessly to get us to this point. So thank you all. All right, so Jerry, Chris, Jan, Tammy, Shelley, and Diane. Okay? So know that they are working hard for you. Also on our board is our board adjunct, and that is Sean, who is also part of our audiovisual team. Can we have our audiovisual team please stand up? Mary, Sean, Nisa is not here. Ed, Mary, stand up. You're part of this. Anybody else? Are we missing anybody? So they have worked very hard these last couple of weeks to get us the equipment we need so that we can live stream, to get us the creative ideas on how to make this work best. And they would welcome your participation because what we don't want to do is burn anybody out. So if you volunteer one Sunday a month to do one thing, then we spread the love, you get to participate, and all of us benefit. So think about that. But thank you all for making this part work. Part of our year-long presentation, I want to give a shout out to my friends at Living Beyond Limits in Lakewood. That's Reverend Jennifer Spear and her crew, Colleen, Lynn, and our sound guy extraordinaire, Ray Bunch. They took care of us all year long. They sent everything to Jeff. Now, Jeff, you see the missing person at the piano, which never happens. He's always here. He will be back with us in a few weeks. So he will be here, but this whole year, he's been the one that's been able to put our presentations together and get them online to keep our information updated on our website. And yes, thank you to all of them for making it work. Now, the other person that made this all work this year was our borrowed practitioner. Pat, will you stand up, please? I brought her this time. And I'll just say for the record, I couldn't do what I do without her. So we're very grateful for you being here. Thank you. Let's see, what else do we have? The online. Oh, I want to a little extra shout out to Bobby and Ed for manning the paint rollers. Yeah. And any of you that worked on cleaning up the grounds, weeding, watering, tearing things out, carrying things to the dumpster, will you stand up, please? Bobby, Ed, Patrick, yeah, Tammy and Sue, I got it, see? Melissa, who's not here, thank you all. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen a house that hasn't been lived in for a year, but things grow and then they die. So we've had a lot of cleanup through these last months, and especially right before our opening to make it beautiful for everyone. So thank all of you. And to everyone who came in and cleaned and dusted and arranged and schlepped things to the dumpster, thank you from all of us, for sure.